If you've ever used a Resin 3D printer or even watched videos about them, then you already know they can produce absolutely insane detail. Honestly, when it comes to pure surface quality and fine features, Resin printers blow away anything that a filament printer can do. But Resin 3D printers also come with some very real baggage. They're messy, they can be finicky, and most of the time they're not something you really want to rely on for serious repeatable work, especially if you're making parts for customers. And that's exactly why I've mostly stayed away from resin printers in my business. But I've got some personal projects I want to get done and a couple of actual customer jobs that just absolutely need the detail and surface finish that I just can't fake with a FDM printer. So when Anycubic reached out and sent me their brand new Photon P1, I'll admit I had mixed feelings. On one hand, I know how good resin can look. On the other hand, I know how much pain resin printers can be in real life. And Anycubic is making a pretty bold claim about this new Photon P1. They're saying this printer is supposed to bridge the gap between hobby resin printers and near industrial production machines. In other words, it's not just a printer for making, pretty gaming figures. It's also one that's reliable, repeatable, and usable for real business work. So in this video, I'm going to put this Anycubic P1 to the test. I'm going to look at how this printer sets up, how it actually behaves in real day-to-day use, and most importantly, I want to find out if this is finally a 3D resin printer that I trust for real customer jobs, or if it's just another really nice hobby machine hyped up by Anycubic's very fine marketing department. So I'll start this video by disclosing that my very first Resin 3D printer was also an Anycubic, a Photon S, and I still have it and it still runs after almost a decade. So I have to confess I'm coming into this with some positive bias about the durability of Anycubic's printers. They've been a great printer for a long time and have continued to evolve pretty dramatically over the last 10 years or so. So let's start with a quick flyover of the Photon P1 and see what it actually is and why it's so much better than the original Photon S, and how the P1 is clearly not designed to be just another cheap desktop resin printer. Now I'll try not to belabor the specs too much because you can find all of these over on Anycubic's website, and I'll leave a link in the description down below to that. But the first thing you're going to notice here is this big hinge lid. It's a very thick piece of acrylic and it's designed to protect your resin from any stray UV light that may be flying around your room. And this would be the case if you're using typical ultraviolet lights in your workshop or hobby room. So it's good that this cover is there, and it fits well on the front and the sides. But if you look on the top at the back, you'll actually see quite a gap and you can get your fingers in there. But I assume they left this there for ventilation. Now, since we're at the back of the printer anyway, let's take a look at this ventilation mechanism. Behind this mysterious rubber plug is actually an AirPure 2 connector port. Now, Anycubic doesn't supply any kind of fitting with the printer for this, so you have to go back to the Anycubic store. You can pick up a bunch of plumbing that will connect that to your vacuum system. Now, of course, we need to be able to power the Photon P1 on. And that's actually pretty simple. We'll flip around to the side here and we'll find a USB connector and a power switch. So you just press and hold that for a couple of seconds and the machine will come on. There's also a USB port over on the side if you want to use a thumb drive rather than the Wi-Fi that's built into the printer for some reason. And that brings us around to the front of the machine again, where we have a really nice touchscreen display. The text is really crisp and the controls are actually easy to work. If you're like me, sometimes you have trouble getting your fat fingers to work on those things. All right, let's take a look inside. The build volume here is 223 millimeters by 126 millimeters by 230 millimeters tall. So that's about 6.5 liters. It's pretty spacious in there. You can print pretty much anything that you would typically print with a resin printer, even a lot of things that are fairly big. Okay, so we're inside the printer here now. We're going to start with the Z or Z axis. There are two linear rails, one on either side of a ball screw. Now, Anycubic calls this ball screw an industrial ball screw. It isn't really an industrial style because it's a C7 ball screw, a C7 standard. The C5 would be the industrial one. The C5 costs quite a bit more money, so Anycubic has taken an opportunity to make the printer a little cheaper here. In the grand scheme of things, this isn't really going to impact a whole lot. So, don't panic about it, but it isn't technically a professional or an industrial ball screw. Now, there's also what Anycubic calls assisted leveling. This isn't automatic leveling because it doesn't actually adjust anything, but what it does is brings the build plate down to the screen, and there's presumably pressure transducers in each corner of the screen that measure the amount of pressure, and if it's not balanced, it will bring up on the display the values, and it will tell you, what you have to do to adjust it to make the plate level with the screen. So very simple to use. Since I mentioned the build plates, let's talk about those. And the first thing we need to understand is how they mount to the Z-axis. They just slide onto what amounts to a big square pin. They slide on very smoothly. It's a very tight fit. And then you just flip this lever down and it will lock in place. Very accurate and certainly reproducible if you take the build plate off and put it back on. Now, as far as build plates, there's 3 different ones. The one that comes with the printer is a solid stainless steel plate. It's going to be scratch resistant, so it's going to be much better than those aluminum plates that ship with most printers. However, it does have a flat surface on top, and when the plate lifts out of the vat, there's going to be a big pool of resin on top of it. So when you want to remove the build plate from the printer, you have to make sure you scrape all of that resin off. Otherwise, you're going to have resin everywhere. So bit of a drawback there, but the plate itself is very solid. The second plate is the perforated plate, essentially the same, except it's full of holes. Now, this one is used for high viscosity resins, so that when the build plate is pulling away from the bottom of the vat, the holes allow resin to easily flow through, so you avoid a suction situation where the build plate gets stuck. And the final plate here is this split plate. What it allows you to do is use the dual-vat system on the printer and use half of the plate in each vat and print simultaneously either the same part in different resins or different settings. But the one use case I can think of for myself would be, rather than use the full vat, would be to use 1/2 of the dual-vat if I'm printing small parts or something. But I do think that most people are going to avoid this build plate, even though it is the flagship plate that Anycubic promotes this printer with. Yes, you can print 2 different things at the same time or 2 different resins, but you are going to cut your build volume down substantially, and there's no heater in this vat. So if you are trying to print something like an engineering resin where you do actually need to heat it, this thing is just completely out of bounds. So I'm not sure this was a real win for Anycubic, but the other 2 plates are definitely things you're going to want to use. Now we get to the screen, which is the heart of any resin printer. And in the case of the Photon P1, this is a 14K screen, which means it's 13,312 pixels by 5,120 pixels. Now, you'll also notice that it has this pebbled surface on it, which is what Anycubic calls wave release technology. This is supposed to make it easier for the build plate to pull away from the FEP film in the bottom of the vat, and that will contribute to higher success rate on prints. The vat on the Photon P1 is actually a pretty impressive device. It holds a full liter of resin, which is already pretty nice, but more importantly, it has this really great pour spout so that whenever you're emptying the vat after you're finished printing, you can control where it's going. So this is one of those things that helps the Photon P1 not be a typical messy resin printer. It also includes this maximum fill line, and if you stay below that when you plunge the plate into the vat, it's not going to overflow. So good on Anycubic for putting that there. It's also held onto the printer with these really nice clips, and they have this satisfying click when you close them, so there's no question ever that it may not be mounted properly. Now, notice this connector on the back of the vat. Well, this plugs into the printer at the back on that matching connector, and this is used to power the built-in heater up to 40 degrees Celsius. Now, unlike other printers that do have heated vats, they're either on or off. This one you can actually control on a per degree basis up to 40 C. So this means that you're going to be able to control the temperature. Maybe you're using a particular engineering resin that requires a specific temperature. You should be able to handle it with this. Now, as far as resins go, you can use almost any resin you can find for this printer. So that could be, a really cheap, low viscosity, watery hobby resin, all the way up to an industrial resin like this elastic resin at 8,000 CPS, which I'll try later. This stuff is going to be pretty pasty, and pretty much any other hobby or home type 3D resin printer would just simply fail with this stuff. It's like trying to print toothpaste. With the printer ready to go, I now need to give it something to print. So I'm going to use a slicer, and I'm going to use the Anycubic Photon Workshop, which just is easier than trying to get something like G2 Box up and running. You have to build a profile, but this one is easy. You just fire it up and detect the printer and you're ready to go. So I have it up and running here. You can see the workspace, and I'm going to just upload this keycap. Now, I can just do a quick overview here. This isn't the right orientation, so I'm going to lay it flat. Now, because this thing has an enclosed cavity, I want to put some supports under it so that it can print properly. And you can see how easy that was. I rotated it very quickly and put some supports on. The supports here are actually fairly intelligent, so it doesn't put unnecessary things there, and they're very easy to break off. Now, I want to create a whole bunch of these because I'm making a keypad. So I can just duplicate this thing, 20 times, and that's it. Now I can select the resin I'm going to use, and I'm just going to use the standard resin here. You can see how much resin it's going to use and how long it's going to take, and we just hit the send to printer, and off it's going to go. Now I'll show you a bit of it here. I'm not going to show you the whole print because it's a whole lot of dipping a plate into a vat of resin. But when I'm done, I got a bunch of keycaps, and if I take one of my key movements here, you can see they fit on. Now, you might notice that there's some curves on the bottom of some of these, and they should have been flat. I think that's because I didn't have the resin settings. This wasn't the standard resin from Anycubic. This was just some 200 CPS type watery resin that I had, and it was pretty old, so I'm not sure what the problem was there. But I did use some of Anycubic standard resin, and it came out really nicely. I started with these toggle paddles that I created for a project. Then I printed this dragon, and you can see the detail here is fantastic. Like this, I can't even imagine how much better this is than anything else. Now, I took this dragon and I shrunk it down to something very small just so I could see the detail. And even at this scale, it's still quite detailed. Then I took some of Anycubic's ABS-like resin. It's a higher viscosity resin, so good test here. Made this funnel, which came on the SD card for this. This is actually an AirPure 2 adapter that I just quickly whipped together so that I could vent this printer through my vacuum system. And these are something I'm probably going to use this for commercial application for customers. I make chess pieces. I like to make chess sets. And I have no other way to make something this intricate, and these came out fantastically. I just can't imagine finding a better way to print these. I also showed you earlier this elastic resin that Anycubic sent me, but my shop is just not set up for this. This printer, unlike almost every other printer for the consumer or prosumer market, it can print this resin, and I want to show you that this is possible. So look for a future video to show you how to print this stuff. So here's the bottom line. The Photon P1 is not really a beginner's toy, and I don't think it's really trying to be. This is a serious resin printer for people who actually want to use resin for a purpose rather than to just watch the build plate dip up and down into a pool of resin repeatedly to magically create something out of goo. If you're doing things like small batch production miniatures, mold masters, or high detail customer parts, this is one of the few resin printers you can buy that actually feels like a serious tool. Having said that, it's not quite perfect, but Anycubic has definitely made efforts to eliminate some of the old stigmas around resin printers, and whether you're experienced as a hobbyist or a business, you're going to enjoy the capabilities here. You definitely won't be disappointed. Now, if you want to check out the P1 for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description down below, and that link will help the channel if you do actually buy a P1. Now, if you're interested in finding out more about that elastic resin or other workshop tech projects and reviews that I run on this channel, make sure you click the subscribe button and Also click that bell so you get notified when new things happen. You will definitely see this printer appear back on this channel again in the not too distant future, so keep watching. And with that, I'll wind down. I'll say get out there, make your world, and I'll see you next time.